returns to familiar surroundings. This is OU Nightly. 21 years ago today, a typical Oklahoma spring morning became a day Oklahomans will never forget. At 9:01 a.m., a terrorist bomb ripped through Alfred F. Murrah Federal Building.
The blast killed 168 people ranging in age from 3 months to 73, 19 children in all. And as Nightly's Haley Huey shows us, Oklahomans once again gathered today to remember.
Yeah, 21 years and it still stings, it still hurts.
Pain, shock, and sadness. This is how Oklahomans feel 21 years after the Oklahoma City bombing on April 19th, 1995.
Parking levels which just simply flattened onto one another like pancakes.
In a matter of seconds, a city was rocked to its core and is a moment most Oklahomans will never forget. Today, like the past 20 years, many people gather to remember those who passed. Each one shares the same heartache, but for different reasons.
Well, we talk about 21 years being a lot of years, but at the same time, that's just a drop.
The 168 chairs spread across this lawn represents the lives lost 21 years ago. And this specific chair represents Christy Yolanda Jenkins' life.
My mother is Christy Yolanda Jenkins, and she was a victim. She worked in the credit union on the 3rd floor.
Shoemate Jenkins remembers clearly the pain of losing his mother.
I was 15 years old. I know I remember every day.
No matter how many years pass, it will be impossible to forget the lives lost on this tragic day. Haley Huey, OU Nightly.
And as a footnote to today's memorial, a federal judge has denied Terry Nichols' request to sell his guns to benefit bombing victims and his children. Nichols was sentenced in 1998 to life in prison for his part in the Oklahoma City bombings. The judge ordered the federal government destroy the guns and credit their value to more than $14 million Nichols owes in restitution. One reason for the objection, the government feared someone would buy the guns and use them in a copycat crime.
I was actually at the memorial this morning. I got to see the ceremony. It was very pretty, but it did rain on me. So
wow.
I'm hoping weather has more on that.
Yeah, what's it looking out like right now, Kylie?
Well, right now it is pretty sunny out there, but this morning it was chilly and raining, kind of miserable for us here in Norman. Luckily for us, though, that sun has come out and we've warmed up to about 62 right now here in Norman, 63 in Oklahoma City. But the story over the past few days is how much rainfall we've received. Since Saturday, we've received almost 4 inches of rain here in Norman, and over the past 24 hours, almost an entire inch of rain here in Norman. Now, I am expecting another rainfall event to come through the area tonight, and I'll have more on that in Maine weather, possible severe weather for parts of the state, and I'll also have a look at our weekend forecast. Back to you guys.
Thanks. Earthquakes keep on rattling this week across the Sooner State. In the past 7 days, Oklahoma has seen a total of 13 quakes. Most were under 3.0, causing little to no damage. And as the quakes continue, Oklahoma's insurance commissioner is worried that insurance companies might be taking advantage of Oklahoma homeowners. Commissioner John Doak plans to investigate, beginning with a May 24th public hearing. Doak says some companies have raised rates by more than 100%. The May 24th hearing will be from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. at the Oklahoma Insurance Department. For more information, visit ok.gov/OID.
Norman high schools are ranked among the best in the state, according to U.S. News and World Report, but not at the top. The publication's annual survey shows Edmond North is Oklahoma's top-ranked high school, followed by Edmond Memorial, Norman High, Jenks, and Will Rogers College High School. Nationally, Edmond North is ranked 872nd, while Edmond Memorial ranks 1,107th. The magazine evaluates more than 21,000 public high schools using benchmarks like college and career preparation.
Allie Stratton joins us now in the News Center with the latest on the New York primaries. Allie?
Courtney, New Yorkers are casting their votes today as the state's presidential primaries are underway for both Republicans and Democrats. Polls show Democrat Hillary Clinton ahead by double-digit margins. A win for her would provide a boost of momentum after Sanders' recent victories in Wyoming and Wisconsin. And for Republican frontrunner Donald Trump, after weeks of negative headlines, staff changes, and the loss of delegates to Cruz, a contested Republican convention seems more likely. But in New York, he is in his element, and polls show he will easily win the state's primary. And an explosion rocked the Afghan capital of Kabul this morning, killing 28 people and wounding more than 300. According to a police official, Taliban militants were targeting a security team that protects government VIPs. Despite the target, most victims were civilians. And Courtney United Health, the nation's largest health insurer, has announced it will stop selling health plans through Obamacare. That's what's happening around the world. Now back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Allie.
Well, 3 Gaylord College alums have been awarded Pulitzer Prizes for their news reporting. Husband and wife Gaylord grads Haley Branson Potts and Mark Potts were honored for their LA Times coverage of the San Bernardino terrorist attack. And Washington Post editor and OU graduate David Fallis is on the Pulitzer Prize winning team at the Washington Post. He and his colleagues were recognized for creating a database examining fatal shootings by on-duty police officers.
And still to come on OU Nightly, are you still texting and driving? We'll show you how many are being caught.
Plus, a small Norman nonprofit takes a big step to help the homeless.
Good job, everyone. Great. That was great.
It's a hard habit to break, and some Oklahomans are proving it. In November of 2015, the state's texting and driving ban went into effect. Norman police say since January, more than 18 citations have been issued in Norman. The Highway Patrol says it's issued more than 200 tickets in the Oklahoma City area. Some drivers even admitting to this habit.
At stoplights especially, or if I'm like changing my music, I'm looking down at my phone. But I have, unfortunately.
The OHP also reports issuing more than 400 warnings for distracted driving.
And every Tuesday, Shay Smith joins us with the Help Beat, and today she's talking about pot. Shay?
That's right, Anna. There are now 24 states that have legalized medical marijuana. Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf approved a measure over the weekend that allows the selling of pot to people who suffer from medical conditions. Those conditions include diseases such as cancer, HIV, and Parkinson's. It will take at least a year and a half for the state to establish its medical marijuana program, and the state expects to make $10 million in the first year of legalization. And this week is National Infant Immunization Week. Hundreds of communities all across the U.S. and world will unite to highlight the success of vaccines. This week is highlighted to remind people that the power to save children's lives. Vaccines have successfully eradicated smallpox, and health officials are close to completely wiping out polio. For more information, visit www.ok.gov/health. And the Oklahoma State Health Department is working to identify potential Zika virus cases right here in the Sooner State. The Zika virus is not currently being spread in the U.S. by mosquitoes, but it is spreading quickly in the South and Central Americas. But people traveling abroad risk contracting the virus, then bringing it to the U.S. The OSDH received confirmation of 4 travel-related cases affecting Oklahoma residents. One victim is pregnant, and Zika has proven to be linked to birth defects. The virus is primarily transmitted through the bite of an affected mosquito, and it can also be spread to women through sexual contact with males, and it can be passed down from mother to unborn child. And well, guys, they are still testing people right here in Oklahoma for the Zika virus.
Great, thank you so much, Shay. Well, every day, 250 people line up in Norman for a helping hand, and while food and shelter only has room for 60. Nightly's Lindsay Gomez shows us that help is on the way.
It's going to have like 4 showers, it's going to have a bigger dining room, bigger kitchen,
Joe Warren just can't hide it. He's ecstatic for this pile of dirt.
I might have a home, and I might have more than one pair of pants.
It's not just the dirt, it's what's being built here. A new $6 million shelter, but it won't be a giant building like most. It's going to be a village of 32 homes, half of them for families, the other half for single individuals.
It truly is a place where people who are often turned away can be welcomed with open arms and have their own home with their own front porch, with their own flower bed.
That may be tough to picture right now. Many of Norman's homeless live like this in camps. That's because this shelter is only open in the winter. But the new community of homes will change that, giving people a roof over their heads all year long.
You're not trying to find a place where it's not raining, like over there at the train depot.
More than just a home, those close to the project say it also sends a message.
It's showing the greater area, the greater community, the world around us, that the city of Norman believes in investing in people from the bottom all the way up to the top.
It won't be all dirt and heavy machines for long. The shelter's director hopes that all 32 homes will be built here by the end of this year. Lindsay Gomez, OU Nightly.
And Food and Shelter is only $50,000 away from meeting its goal for this project. If you would like to donate, visit foodandshelterinc.org.
Still ahead on OU Nightly, flooding in Houston turns deadly.
And Kylie Capps has the latest from Texas as well as Oklahoma's forecast next.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Kylie Capps. Torrential rains and floods in Houston have left at least 6 people dead and swamped more than 1,000 homes. 5 of the deaths were drownings caused when people drove cars into flooded roads. Rivers and creeks continue to rise today, forcing a fresh round of evacuations. Flooded roads and power outages caused at least 4 area school districts to cancel classes. Some are calling this Houston's most significant flood event since 2001. That's when Tropical Storm Allison left 41 people dead and caused property damage exceeding $5 billion. So this is definitely a scary time in Houston. Our thoughts are definitely with them at the moment. Now, what's important to remember about this time, or about the Houston area, is it is so widespread that some areas have received more rainfall than others. Over in Katy, they've received over a foot of rain, and then up in Spring, almost 11 inches. So definitely scary for them right now, and our thoughts are with them. Now, we are currently in a flash flood watch here in Oklahoma, here in Norman. That flash flood watch should expire tomorrow morning, but it is something to keep in mind. Now, this is because the ground is so wet that if we do receive another heavy rainfall event, which I am expecting to see come through, the ground's too wet to hold much more water. So definitely something to keep an eye on if you are planning on heading out tonight. I'm watching the formation of some storms out in the western part of the state, and once those do form a line and form through central Oklahoma, this will bring with it some heavy rainfall. We can't rule out the possibility just yet of small hail, but it is something to keep in mind. And then by the time that line does move through the area, it will just leave some light showers and thunderstorms here in central Oklahoma. Rain chances tonight, they are going to increase as we move further west, about an 80% chance out in the Panhandle, and then farther east, especially here in central Oklahoma, about a 60% chance of rain when those storms do move through. Now, future rainfall starting tonight by Thursday morning, almost 2 inches of rain here in Norman. Further south down in Ardmore, over 2 inches of rain. So definitely a major event that's helping bring us out of that drought that was starting to creep back through the area. Now, tonight, we won't get too cool by midnight tonight, only about 58 degrees. Those clouds, again, will stick with us as some possible rain does move through the area. Throughout the entire state, though, fairly inconsistent. 40 out in Guyman in the Panhandle. We will warm up as we move further east. A low tonight, 54 here in Norman. Then we'll warm up nicely tomorrow. It might be another humid day. I am expecting some showers and thunderstorms before midday tomorrow, and then after that, those storms will have cleared. About 73 by 4 p.m. and then throughout the entire state, another warm day as well. Now, I am expecting it to warm up quite a bit throughout the rest of the week. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday will warm up to about 77 degrees by Saturday. Another chance of some severe storms early next week, but we are just keeping an eye on that rainfall throughout the rest of this evening.
Well, I'm excited for some nice weather this weekend.
Me too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And speaking of rain, all this rain in Norman seems to be causing problems for OU sports. Stephen Kabler is here with more.
Thanks, Courtney. We've got an update on the baseball and softball games tonight and a thriller between the Thunder and the Mavs last night in OKC. Sports is next. Welcome to OU Nightly Sports. I'm Stephen Cavler. After the OKC Thunder took Game 1 over the Dallas Mavericks, they looked to go up 2-0 last night, but the Mavs had other plans. Late in the game, Mavs up 4, Kevin Durant splashes from deep, pulls the Thunder within 1, making just his second 3 on the night. The next trip down the floor, Raymond Felton misses both free throws. Kevin Durant with the rebound, outlet to Russell Westbrook, and look, count them, guys, 3 chances at the bucket. And on the last one, Steven Adams puts it up for the game winner. Not so fast, my friends. Ball was still in his hand. Take a look right here. As the red lights come on, the refs would wave it off. Mavs stun the Thunder at home, 85-84. Now, before every game, Russell Westbrook and Cam Payne have a pregame dance/handshake ritual that they are adamant about completing the entire thing, even if they're interrupted. Dallas's Charlie Villanueva tries to disrupt the pregame dance party, and Russ was having none of it. He pushes his way through the offensive pick, and he found a way to finish his handshake with his boy right before the game. Get out of here. After the loss, the Mavs series heads to Dallas for games 3 and 4, and let's take a look at the schedule remaining in the series. Games 3 and 4 are slated for April 21st and 23rd. After that, the series goes back to OKC for Game 5 on April 25th, and if necessary, Games 6 and 7 will alternate between Dallas and OKC on the 28th and 30th. The Warriors and Rockets took to the court for Game 2 in the Bay Area, but one important piece was missing from the Warriors lineup. Steph Curry rolled his ankle in Game 1 and would sit for Game 2, but the Warriors wouldn't miss a beat. Behind Klay Thompson's 34 points, the Warriors take a commanding 2-0 lead over the Rockets. After last night's games, this is how the playoffs are shaping up. Warriors lead the Rockets, as I said, 2-0 heading to Houston. Dallas ties the series up with OKC at 1 apiece. And after a close Game 1 loss at home to the Pacers, Toronto tied that series up 1-1 heading to Indiana. In other playoff news, the Atlanta Hawks host the Boston Celtics in Game 2 of their series in Phillips Arena in Atlanta. The Hawks are trying to take a 2-0 series lead after edging out the Celtics 102-101 at home on Saturday behind 3 players scoring more than 20 points, with Al Horford leading the way with 24. In the late game tonight, the San Antonio Spurs welcome the Memphis Grizzlies into the AT&T Center for Game 2 of their series. Game 1 was not nice to the Grizz, as the Spurs, led by 20 points and 4 steals from Kawhi Leonard, destroyed the Grizzlies 106-74. That game is set to tip at 8:30 Central. To the Diamond now. Bedlam Baseball has been rescheduled due to all this rain for tomorrow at 6 at L. Dale Mitchell Park. And on the softball side, this is the second time they've had to reschedule their matchup with Tulsa, and another reschedule is pending. Now, I know that we're all worried about all this rain for baseball, but we need it for the state.
I agree. Thank you, Stephen. Still to come on OU Nightly, the OKC Festival of Arts is back with an inclusive message.
I'm Allie Stratton at the OU Nightly Update Desk. The latest on the conflict in Syria, escalating violence has prompted opposition representatives to suspend participation in UN-sponsored peace talks. And a federal appeals court has ruled that a Virginia high school discriminated against a transgender teen by forbidding him from using the boys' restroom. That's it for now. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Allie. 50 years. That's how long the Oklahoma City Festival of the Arts has decorated downtown OKC each spring. I walked along the square earlier today and had the chance to spend time with some of Oklahoma's most talented artists. Singers, dancers, painters, you name it, Oklahoma has it all.
There's just something about coming home and feeling very, very welcomed and appreciated.
For the next 5 days, Bicentennial Park will be home to 144 vendors, 3 performance stages, and 2 rows of international food stands, all set up to make a statement to the community.
The arts are not just for a specific type of people, they're for everyone. And everyone can enjoy them, and there's a place for everyone in the arts.
Money spent at the festival will not only support the artists, but the Oklahoma community as well.
Every purchase at Festival of the Arts, whether you're buying, a delicious Indian taco or, a beautiful piece of art, it's going to support the community and going to support arts in underserved areas.
Will continue through April 24th. A full performance schedule and list of vendors can be found online at www.artscouncilokc.com.
Well, the spring weather is coming along. What can people in Norman do for that severe weather that might happen?
Severe weather could be right around the corner. So I created some few severe weather tips. Know your safe spot, which will be that inside room, and definitely stay weather aware. So.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by Gaylord College.
For the latest news, go to our website at ounightly.com or check us out on Facebook. Good night.
Good night.